Mr. Menezes, there's been bipartisan interest, and I'm sorry that I am not hearing what you have to say about USVI in Puerto Rico. If you could submit that for the record, I'd like to review that. There's been bipartisan interest in how can we make the grids more resilient for those two places. And one thing that I've been trying to promote is that we would have some sort of mix, again, trying to find 60 votes of renewables on a microgrid, but the backstop being LNG. Now, knowing that about 17% of the Puerto Rican grid right now is LNG, but knowing that they've clearly got a grid that's vulnerable to storms, empirically see that. What is the possibility of these floating gasification tankers coming up to Caribbean islands or a place like Puerto Rico and providing the backstop for the microgrids as we build that out? Is that pie in the sky, or is that something that we could reasonably do?
Well, to be sure, we have heard from many interested parties on a variety of ways to make improvements to the grid down there and making both their generation, transmission, and distribution systems more resilient, because as we know, there'll be additional extreme weather events, on the island. Regarding LNG, indeed, those that are there have looked at modernizing, if you will, some of the generation there to be able to get off of the bunker oil that they currently are.
Could they use the same? Could they use the same turbines if we came in with a tanker that gasified LNG, pulls it up and provides the fuel? Does everything else stay the same, or do they have to change the turbines to adapt to a different fuel source?
Excellent question. As we've discovered, and others have known this, but a lot of their generation really has, had not been properly maintained. There's a particular unit, Palo Seco, which is important to the San Juan area. It runs on bunker fuel. It's dated. It needs to be redone. And so in this instance, were you to bring LNG there, right now we have, I think, two 30-megawatt natural gas modular units that have re-energized the grid around San Juan. It uses natural gas. That is being brought in by LNG now. It's regasified, and that's what's powerful.
On the boat itself, I presume?
On the island. I'm not sure. I think it's regasified there. There is a regasification unit there, but I'm not sure that it's operating at this time. But the point being is that they're very desirous of getting off the bunker fuel.
But to the point, do they have to put in? Those are two temporary turbines. If they have a turbine in Haiti that's running off of bunker fuel, and they bring in natural gas, liquefied natural gas, can they use the same turbines that they're using now, just replacing the bunker fuel with the natural gas, or do they actually need to replace the electricity generating unit?
We're looking at this right now. Senator Cassidy, I'm not sure that I can answer that question.
And let me also ask, what is the possibility, because I think there's a lot of interest here, and I'm obviously mixing what you're going to say about Puerto Rico with finding a utility for liquefied natural gas, because I think we could get bipartisan support if it was somehow tied to increased use of renewables in a microgrid. Mm-hmm. So you've been going to Puerto Rico. What is the feasibility of that?
Well, what we're doing is next week we are having a workshop where we are bringing in all of the parties that have made proposals on refurbishing generation, the transmission system, and the distribution system. The staffs of this committee have been invited. Actually, the chairman and ranking member have been invited. We expect their staffs to attend, as well as the House. But attending will be DOE, will be FEMA, the Corps, our labs that have been asked to do the resiliency modeling, the economic analyses, New York Power Authority, NYPA, and its consultant, Navigant, will be there, and all of the interested parties. The goal is to put everybody's best thinking there to look at an all-of-the-above strategy to make it as resilient as we can, and the placement of these. LNG is certainly one of the key fuel choices that are being looked at, as well as renewables. the integrated microgrids, and to try to modernize the system. And
Okay.
so that will occur next week, and your staffs, your committee staff, has been invited to participate.
Thank you, Senator Hendrick.